Hi everyone, this is Danny. Welcome to day one of Inktober, and a big thank you to Stephanie Jennifer, CZT, for setting this all up for the Zentangle and Beyond community. So we're going to start on day one, and there is a document that you can follow along with on Stephanie's Facebook page with all of the prompts for the month of October. So I like to keep these little Zentangle bijous of the patterns that I'm drawing, and it happens that I do not have a bijou yet for the first pattern, believe it or not. So today we are going to be drawing a headquarter step out, which is Ambler. And I like to write on the back who it's by. So I'm going to put an HQ on the back for headquarter. And fairly simple and nice border tangle. Not that you have to use it as a border, but I think it's nice. We're going to think of kind of like a printemps, but we're going to start with a square shape instead. And rather than closing it off, I'm going to come back down and keep making an aura in the inside. And I could leave it like this, or I could add some line weight to it as well. So for today, I'm going to leave it how we see it here on my tile. So this is Ambler, and I have had my string in, but I already am not going to use that, and I am going to add a little bit more because I prepped this without knowing and looking at the patterns that were here. So I'm taking my white charcoal again, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of a border here. And I'm going to end it on the first half of the page. And I'm going to give myself little square areas to work in. And again, this might get covered up before I even get to what I'm doing. And I'm not doing traditional Zentangle here. I'm combining different things that I enjoy doing. And this isn't going to be an exact square, so I'm going to have it come maybe into here. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to be working in this area with my Ambler. And before I get started, I'm going to add a little bit of paint color into here. So I've chosen two colors here from Liquitex Basic Acrylics, and I'm going to add a little bit onto my paint palette that's off to the side here. And less is more for me. I'll always go back in and add more paint as I need. I am also going to shake up my titanium white, the high flow acrylics by Golden. And I'm going to add a little bit of that to my canvas as well. And I have those set to the side in case I need more. And I have a brush here. I'm using a flat one today. And I have some paper towel off to the side. And again, I'm just going to play. So I'm going to add a little bit of this orange to the white. It's always best to put the darker color into the lighter. And I'm going to take a extra paper towel and stick it underneath my page. That way I don't have to worry about the border. And I'm not looking for anything neat here. I'm just going in and painting and having some fun. So I never really worry about my first couple layers because I'm going to be doing so many different things here that what I start with is in no way going to be what I end up with. And again, I'm not even worrying about those charcoal lines that I put in right now. I'm going right over it. the edge of it serves as a nice purpose. Sometimes I mix right on my paper as well. And I am looking for a looser kind of style here, so I'm not concerned with things being super neat. It's just going to be playful. And maybe now that I'm covering this up, I am gonna stick with my original thought process and try to stay on this page with this section, which is nice with the charcoal. I can just always go back and go right over it, rub it off. All right, so I'm thinking I'm gonna stop around here. And I know it doesn't really look like much of anything yet, and this is very, very unusual for my style and not traditional Zentangle whatsoever. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to let this dry before I do my next layer. There's going to be lots of layers on here. So this is layer 2 right now. We started with our background and now we added a little bit more color to it. So the next material that I'm using is a Posca marker. These are really beautiful. I have lots of different colors. This is an orange. I'm not sure yet how it's going to show up on here, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'm going to come into this here and it is showing up, so that's great. And I'm going to start by adding a corner section that has my square-ish shape there. And this is going to be my first ambler. And I'm going to leave this wide open because I'm thinking I'm going to do some more things in here. So that is my first one. And I'm going to continue over. And let's see. I'm going to go this way actually to make it be similar to what I have there already. I'm going to continue. So I guess maybe you could consider it a little bit of an oops, but I'm going to kind of change these around a little bit. And I'm going to come up and I have some extra lines here, but that's okay. Because again, it's just all about having fun. As a teacher, you go in having lesson plans, and so when you're creating your own art and doing it simply for the joy of creating, it can be a little tricky thinking about how you're going to approach things when you start off. And I just dipped my hand in paint by accident, but that's all right. I'm just gonna rub it in. No mistakes. I'm not worried about straight lines. I don't want everything to look neat and mechanical. And, depending on if your surface is textured, rough, or it's smooth from how you start to apply your materials, that's going to really play a big part in all of this as well. All right, so that's my Posca, and of course I want that to dry as well. And then I have some Neos here. These are Neo 2s, and they are water soluble. So you can use them regular without water drawing with them, or you can dip them in water and to activate them. So I'm going to just put a little bit, I'm just going to squirt from my water brush here, a little bit of water on my palette, but normally I would have a little water cup here. And just to show you, you can take, here's an orange, you can dip it in the water. And then when you write with it, it becomes nice and smooth and paint-like. However, if you don't want to do that, if I take the back side of this and draw with it, you have a more kind of like a crayon look to it. So depending on what you want to go with, both are really cool options. So I pulled out some colors here. I have a yellow, and orange, and a white. I don't really know if the orange is going to be of any use, and because we have a lot of orange already, so I think yellow is going to be a better contrast. And again, this is not typical Zentangle by any means. I'm kind of combining lots of different things I've been playing around with. So I'm going to add a little bit maybe yellow into some of these spots. And I am wetting this right now, and I'm not really just kind of going into these spaces. And again, just because today's day one and I'm working on this ambler and it might look very unfinished, it doesn't mean I'm not going to revisit it during the rest of the month, because as things start to take form and place on here, I'm going to probably want to keep building and adding to what is happening here. And who knows, might not even look like any tangles at all at the ends. Might just be a big fun process mush. But if I enjoy doing it, that is what is most important. And just taking an art medium and putting it to paper is so enjoyable for me that I can't see at the end of this process not have founding joy. Might be a little bit hard to see at this point. I was thinking about adding some white in here as well, but using it as a dry tool. So I'm going to just wait a minute and I'm going to let this dry. So before I add that white I was speaking of, and I let this dry, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I think I want to add some red Posca too into here. So I'm going to draw another ambler, I think, over this ambler. Again, I know this is probably so crazy seeming, but let's like almost think of it as a drop shadow. So maybe I won't do the whole thing. Maybe I'll do just kind of underneath, and obviously there is zero rules here or any, but Zentangle itself does not have light sources. So if I don't have everything exactly looking like it's coming from the light being on the left or the right, it doesn't matter. But again, this is kind of crazy and super fun what I'm doing. So just going with it. I didn't do this, the end one here. My sketchbook's on the large size, so that is why I'm just zoomed into the area that I am working with right now. Okay, so yeah, I'm just looking like, all right, I want to maybe add a little bit more, some more lines here. There's something here. Again, I'll probably keep, as I'm looking and waking up and starting the next day, I'm going to probably look and be like, oh, I want to add a little more. All right, so once this dries, I think I am going to add a little bit of that white. So I do hope that that if you haven't already, that you've hit subscribe to my channel, and so you can see future things. I took quite a hiatus for a while from YouTube, so as you can tell, my quality it's not of the expert level, and hopefully I will be learning tips as we go along. So I am aware that I have to keep refocusing and things like that. And it's daytime right now, but it is quite a gloomy day here. So this time I am not adding any water. And again, I'm going back into this ambler and just going in and adding some white lines now into here. And I like how this draws when it's dry like this, and it does give it quite a bit of texture. Since this is on in a journal and the book will wind up being closed, these things you might want to use a fixative at the end or a gloss medium or Mod Podge even and let it dry so that it doesn't rub onto your other pages. If you're not fussy and your journal is just a place, you don't even have to worry about that. All right, so I am pleased with the start of this, and that is my Ambler. And thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow with our day 2 step out. Have a great day, everyone.